Have you ever felt like your emotions are invisible chains pulling you in directions you desperately don't want to go, like a storm brewing inside, beyond your control, dictating your reactions, your peace, even your future? You're not alone. Many women carry this silent burden, believing that their feelings are wild, untamable forces. But what if I told you this belief itself is a cage? What if the key to your deepest freedom, to an unshakable inner peace, lies not in suppressing your emotions, but in truly mastering them? For centuries, within the ancient walls of the Shaolin temple, we have studied the human mind, observing its intricate dance with the heart. And what we have discovered is a profound truth. Your emotions are not your masters. They are messengers, powerful currents that can either drown you or, if understood and guided, propel you towards your highest self. Today, we embark on a journey to uncover what every woman truly needs to know about mastering emotional control. This is not about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming limitless. Let's begin by shifting our fundamental perspective. For too long, society has told us to either be emotional and therefore weak, or to be rational and therefore disconnected. This is a false dichotomy. Your emotions, whether they are joy, anger, sadness, or fear, are not weaknesses to be hidden or overcome. They are powerful signals, intricate messages from your inner self and your environment. Think of them as a sophisticated internal communication system. When you feel a surge of frustration, it's not just being angry. It's a message that a boundary has been crossed or an expectation unmet. When sadness washes over you, it might be a signal of loss or a need for deeper connection. The problem isn't the emotion itself, it's our untrained response to it. We often react impulsively, allowing the message to overwhelm us, rather than pausing to decipher its meaning. In our Shaolin teachings, we speak of the importance of listening with the whole self. This means listening to your body, your thoughts, and your emotions, without judgment. When an emotion arises, instead of pushing it away or immediately acting on it, ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? What is its purpose in this moment? This simple act of inquiry creates a vital space, a space between the stimulus and your response, and in that space lies your freedom. It's the first step towards transforming from being controlled by your emotions to being a master of your inner landscape. Now, let's delve deeper into the very architecture of your inner world, exploring the intricate connection between your mind and your emotions. Many believe emotions simply happen to us, as if they are random weather patterns. But the truth is, your mind, through its thoughts and interpretations, is a primary architect of your emotional experience. This is not to say that external events don't trigger emotions, but rather that your perception of those events fundamentally shapes how you feel. Consider this. Two women face the exact same challenging situation, perhaps a difficult feedback session at work. One woman feels deeply hurt and defeated, carrying that emotion for days. The other feels a pang of disappointment but quickly shifts to a mindset of learning and growth. What's the difference? It's often not the event itself, but the internal narrative, the thoughts they attach to the event. The first woman might be thinking, "I'm not good enough, this confirms my fears." The second might be thinking, "This is an opportunity to improve. I welcome feedback." Their thoughts are painting their emotional reality. This is where the wisdom of ancient traditions meets modern neuroscience. The prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of your brain, plays a critical role in regulating the amygdala, the emotional alarm center. When you train your mind to observe thoughts without immediately believing them or reacting to them, you strengthen this regulatory pathway. You gain the power to choose how you process information, rather than being swept away by an automatic emotional surge. This is a key principle in disciplines like cognitive behavioral therapy (CBT), which has been widely studied since its development by Dr. Aaron T. Beck in the 1960s at the University of Pennsylvania. His research demonstrated how identifying and challenging dysfunctional thoughts can lead to significant improvements in emotional well-being. It's about consciously shaping your inner dialogue, becoming aware of the stories you tell yourself, and understanding that these stories create your emotional climate. You are not just a recipient of emotions, you are a co-creator of them. Consider the thought-feeling loop. A negative thought can trigger a negative emotion, which then reinforces the negative thought, creating a downward spiral. But the reverse is also true. By consciously interrupting this loop, perhaps by simply observing the thought without judgment, or by introducing a more balanced perspective. You can interrupt the emotional cascade. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, "I always fail," you can gently reframe it to, "I face the challenge, and I can learn from it." This seemingly small shift in thought can significantly alter your emotional state. It's about recognizing that your thoughts are not facts. They are just thoughts, and you have the power to engage with them, or to let them pass by. Now that we understand how our thoughts sculpt our emotions, let's explore one of the most transformative practices you can adopt: the power of pause. This is about consciously creating a space, a sacred moment, between an external event or an internal trigger and your automatic emotional reaction. Most of us live in a state of continuous reactivity. Something happens, an emotion surges, and we respond without thinking, often regretting our actions later. Imagine a pebble dropped into a calm pond. Ripples spread quick. If your mind is the pond, and emotions are the ripples, allowing an external event to directly trigger an unexamined emotional storm means you are constantly at the mercy of every pebble. The pause, however, is like having the power to control the surface of that pond. How do you create this pause? It begins with mindful awareness. When you feel an emotion begin to stir, a flush of anger, a tightening of fear, a wave of frustration, instead of immediately identifying with it or acting on it, simply notice it. Acknowledge its presence. Say to yourself, "Ah, anger is here," or "I am noticing fear." This simple act of detached observation creates the very first crack in the chain of automatic reaction. It allows your prefrontal cortex to come online and engage, rather than letting the amygdala run the show unchallenged. This is precisely what we train in Shaolin. It is not about suppressing the emotion, it is about observing it. We practice stopping the thought process, not to empty the mind, but to gain clarity. When you observe, you gain perspective. You realize that you are not the emotion, you are the awareness of the emotion. This shift is monumental. Consider the 3-second rule in emotional intelligence. When a strong emotion hits, give yourself just 3 seconds before reacting. In those 3 seconds, take a deep breath. This simple physiological act sends a signal to your nervous system, activating your parasympathetic rest and digest response, and slightly disengaging your sympathetic fight or flight response. This micro-pause provides a critical window for your rational mind to catch up. Dr. Daniel Goleman, a pioneer in the field of emotional intelligence, emphasizes the importance of this space in his work, highlighting how it empowers us to choose our responses rather than being controlled by emotional hijackings. It's in this tiny gap that you reclaim your power. It's where impulsive reaction gives way to intentional response. Building on the power of pause, our next vital step in mastering emotional control is to cultivate the art of emotional detachment. This does not mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means learning to observe your emotions as an external phenomenon rather than being consumed by them. It's the ability to step back, to create a psychological distance from the intense currents of your feelings, allowing you to examine them objectively. Think of yourself as a scientist in a lab, observing a complex chemical reaction. You wouldn't become the reaction, would you? You would simply watch, take notes, and understand its properties. Similarly, when a strong emotion arises, be it anger, fear, or overwhelming sadness, instead of saying, "I am angry," shift your language to "I am experiencing anger," or "anger is present." This subtle but profound linguistic and mental shift empowers you. It reminds you that the emotion is a temporary state, not your entire being. You are the awareness, the consciousness observing the emotion, not the emotion itself. This is a core teaching in many ancient contemplative traditions, including the Shaolin approach. We train to sit with discomfort, to allow emotions to surface, and to simply be with them without judgment or the need to immediately change them. This practice builds immense internal fortitude. When you stop fighting or clinging to your emotions, you strip them of their power to control you. They become like clouds passing in the sky. You observe them, understand their nature, and then they dissipate, leaving the blue sky of your inherent peace. Here is a powerful practice you can apply immediately. When you feel an emotion begin to surge, mentally label it. This is frustration, this is worry. Then imagine placing that emotion on a leaf, floating down a calm stream. Watch it float away. Or Imagine writing the emotion on a chalkboard and then wiping it clean. This visualization technique, though simple, trains your brain to separate from the emotional experience, creating that crucial space we discussed earlier. It is a powerful form of diffusion, a term used in acceptance and commitment therapy, a psychological intervention developed by Stephen C. Hayes and his colleagues in the 1980s, which emphasizes distancing from thoughts and feelings to reduce their impact. You are not pushing the emotion away, you are observing it, understanding its transient nature, and choosing not to let it define your next action. As we journey deeper into mastering emotional control, we arrive at a profoundly powerful, yet often misunderstood practice: the power of self-compassion. Many of us have been taught, implicitly or explicitly, that to be strong, we must be our harshest critic. We believe that relentless self-judgment will motivate us, push us harder, and prevent us from becoming complacent. But the truth is, this constant self-criticism is an insidious poison, eroding our emotional resilience and making us more vulnerable to overwhelm and despair. Self-compassion is not self-pity. It is not an excuse for mediocrity or a license to avoid responsibility. Instead, it is treating yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and support you would offer a dear friend who is struggling. When you stumble, when you make a mistake, when you feel inadequate, which are all inevitable parts of the human experience, what is your internal dialogue? Do you berate yourself, or do you offer words of comfort and encouragement? In the Shaolin tradition, we understand that harshness creates rigidity, and rigidity eventually breaks. True strength, like that of the bamboo, is flexible, adaptable, and rooted in a deep internal stability. This stability comes from within, from a sense of inherent worthiness that is not dependent on external performance or perfection. When you cultivate self-compassion, you build an inner ally, a supportive voice that reminds you of your humanity, your imperfections, and your capacity to learn and grow from every experience. Consider the groundbreaking work of Dr. Kristin Neff, a leading researcher in the field of self-compassion at the University of Texas at Austin. Her studies, which began in the early 2000s, have consistently shown that self-compassion is a stronger predictor of mental health and emotional well-being than self-esteem. While self-esteem often relies on external comparisons or successes, self-compassion offers a stable sense of worth, regardless of circumstances. She identifies three core components: mindfulness, awareness of suffering, common humanity, understanding that suffering is part of being human, and self-kindness, treating yourself with warmth and understanding. So, the next time you face a moment of difficulty, instead of beating yourself up, try placing a hand over your heart and offering yourself a silent message of warmth and understanding. This simple physical gesture, combined with a compassionate thought, can literally shift your physiological response, calming your nervous system and allowing you to face the challenge from a place of inner strength, not self-condemnation. This inner ally, this self-compassion, allows you to take risks, to fail forward, and to remain resilient in the face of adversity. It is the fuel that keeps you from burning out and enables you to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and continue your journey towards mastery with a gentle yet powerful determination. As we near the culmination of our journey into emotional mastery, we arrive at a cornerstone habit: cultivating unconditional self-worth. So often our emotional stability is tethered to external validations, achievements, approval from others, our appearance, or our relationships. When these external pillars falter, our emotional world crumbles, leaving us vulnerable to anxiety, self-doubt, and the overwhelming feeling of not being enough. But what if your worth was an undeniable truth, independent of anything outside of you? What if it was an inherent quality, like the very air you breathe? This is the foundation of unconditional self-worth. It means recognizing that your value as a human being is intrinsic, not something to be earned, proven, or granted by others. It is simply it. In the Shaolin philosophy, we understand that true power originates from within. It is not about accumulating external accolades, but about refining your inner self, knowing your inherent nature. When your sense of worth is conditional, based on performance, comparisons, or external validation, your emotions become a roller coaster, constantly reacting to the ups and downs of life. One compliment lifts you, one criticism crushes you. This is not mastery. This is being a slave to external circumstances. Cultivating unconditional self-worth means detaching your emotional well-being from the volatile opinions of others and the unpredictable events of the world. It means choosing to believe in your fundamental goodness and capacity, regardless of what happens around you. This doesn't make you arrogant, it makes you resilient. It provides an unshakable inner anchor that stabilizes your emotional state, allowing you to navigate life's challenges with a profound sense of inner security. Here's a powerful shift in perspective. Instead of asking, "What do I need to do to be worthy?" start asking, "How can I recognize my inherent worthiness?" This simple reframe moves you from a place of seeking to a place of acknowledging. Practice affirmations that resonate deeply, not as hollow words, but as declarations of truth. I am worthy simply because I exist. Say, "My value is innate and unchangeable." Or visualize your inner light, a radiant core of pure worth that no external event can diminish. This practice, when consistent, literally rewires your brain's self-perception pathways, as shown in studies on neuroplasticity by researchers like Dr. Richard J. Davidson at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. By consciously reinforcing positive beliefs about yourself, you build new neural connections that strengthen your sense of intrinsic value. When you truly embody this, you gain an emotional independence that empowers you to set boundaries, pursue your deepest desires, and live authentically without needing external validation to feel complete. This inner anchor frees you from the emotional volatility that comes from constantly seeking approval. It allows you to operate from a place of inherent strength, making your emotional control effortless, because it springs from a deep well of self-acceptance and self-love. We have journeyed far, my dear friends, exploring what every woman truly needs to know about mastering emotional control. We've unraveled the profound truth that your emotions are not your masters, but messengers, understood the intricate dance between your mind and emotions, learned the liberating power of pause to create space for intentional response, and embraced the transformative art of emotional detachment to observe feelings without being consumed. We've discovered the gentle yet powerful strength of self-compassion and the unshakable anchor that comes from cultivating unconditional self-worth. This journey, however, is not a destination. It is a continuous path, a lifelong practice of refining your inner landscape. True emotional mastery is not about achieving a state where you never feel a challenging emotion again. That is an illusion. It is about building the capacity to meet every emotion, every challenge, every wave of life with wisdom, with grace, and with an unyielding inner peace. It is about understanding that your strength comes not from avoiding the storm, but from learning to navigate it with skill and serenity. Your potential for emotional control, for inner peace, for genuine happiness is limitless. It lies within you, waiting to be cultivated, day by day, breath by breath, choice by choice. Every time you choose awareness over reaction, every time you offer yourself kindness instead of criticism, every time you anchor yourself in your inherent worth, you are taking another step towards becoming the master of your own emotional destiny. You are becoming the limitless woman you are meant to be. So, my question to you, as we conclude this profound exploration, is this. Now that you know what every woman needs to know about mastering emotional control, what will be your first deliberate action to reclaim your inner peace? The power is in your hands, in your mind, in your spirit. Do not let this knowledge remain just information. Transform it into action. Transform it into lasting inner freedom. Share your commitment in the comments below. Tell us, what specific practice will you begin today to master your emotions? Your commitment can inspire countless other women on their own journeys of transformation. Like this video, if it illuminated your path, subscribe to continue receiving these profound insights, and share it with other women who seek this deepest form of freedom. Remember, the journey to true mastery is lifelong. But with these insights, you are no longer a passenger in your emotional world. You are the captain of your soul. You are limitless. Go forth and embody your peace.